Welcome to another Thrive Architect tutorial. In this one, we will see how to use the layout and position options. In order to show you how to use these options, I've created a simple page with some text, a button, and an image in a content box. The layout and position options are part of the more general options that are available for almost every Thrive Architect element. So in order to see how they work, let's click on one of the elements from the page. I'm gonna choose the text element here to access its options from the sidebar, and then click on the layout and position options here to open them. The first set of options that we have here are the margins and the padding. Let's start with the margins. By setting margins for an element, you can modify the space between that element and the one next, above, or under it. So for instance, if I want to modify the space between the text element and this title here, I'm gonna have to modify the top margin. In order to do that, I can either drag the specific top arrow here of the exterior box, like this, or I can simply enter a value manually, like this. As you can see, the space between this text and the title has been modified. You can do the same for the bottom margin. Either drag the arrow of the exterior box or enter a value manually. The same goes for the side margins. But because there's no element on the side of this text, whenever I modify the side margin, the paragraph will become more narrow, and therefore the structure of the text will also change. Now comes the padding. The padding represents the space that modifies inside an element, and it can be adjusted using the interior box here. You can modify the padding in the same way as you did with the margins. Either drag the arrow of the respective padding here, or enter a value manually. As you can see, by modifying the top padding, we have added more space inside the element at the top here. The same can be done for the bottom and the side paddings as well. Now let's change this back and go on with the other options. Next come the width and the height settings. As you can see, the max width and the min height are selected by default. The min and the max settings here represent the minimum and the maximum values that you can define for the width or the height of the element. At the moment, they have the automatical value, but if you want to change them, you can easily do that. First of all, click on the width or the height that you want to modify. For example, if I select this one, then I will modify the minimum width of the element. Now, in order to change it, I will have to use the drag or input field here. Just as its name says, I can either start dragging up or down, or I can simply enter a value manually as well. The same can be done for the max width, the minimum height, and the maximum height as well. Furthermore, the unit of the width and the height can also be changed if you click here. As you can see, you can choose between pixels, percentages, viewport width, and viewport height. In order to choose one of these, simply click on it. Also, if you want to change the size back and you don't want these values anymore, then you can click on this X icon, which will change it back to the automatical setting. You can do the same for the other values as well. One more option that you have here is the fixed width or the fixed height. By using these options, you can set a fixed value for the width and the height of your element. You can do this the same way as you did with the minimum and the maximum values. But please keep in mind that if you have previously set a minimum and a maximum value to the element, then the fixed value you set here has to be at least equal to those values. Furthermore, there are some elements, like the background section or the content box here, that besides the width and the height settings here, also have width and height settings in the main options, here. It is important to know that these will always match. If you change the width or the height from the layout and position options, it will also be changed in the main options and vice versa. Okay, now let's go back to our element and continue with the layout and position options. Next are the alignment options here. As you can see, there is no alignment set for this text yet, but we can easily change that. If you want to align the text on the left, then you have to click here. Or if you want it on the center, click here. And finally, if you want to align it to the right, then click here. As simple as that. To showcase the next set of options, I'm gonna use the text, the button, and the other text here. So let's click on this and continue with the display options. As you can see, the block is the default state of this element. This means that the element occupies the whole row in which it is in. If I want to change that, I can click on the inline state here, and by doing this, the element will occupy only the space it is displayed in, not the whole row. I can do the same thing for the button and for this other text as well. Selecting the inline for all three elements will display them in the same row here. I can also modify the margins if I want to make this look better. Okay, so these were the basic layout and position options, but we also have advanced ones as well. In order to show you these, I'm gonna use this image. First of all, we will have to open the advanced options here. These options will be more familiar to the CSS experienced users, who have already used options such as the float or the z-index. If you want to activate the float option for your element, all you have to do is click here. You can use this, for example, to wrap text around images. Furthermore, the z-index option can be used when two elements are stacked on top of each other and you want to define which one to be on the front. All you have to do is either enter a value here or use the arrows in order to define the value. Remember that the element with the higher z-index will be displayed first. Last but not least, we have the position options here. You can use these to modify the position of the element without affecting the other elements as well. As you can see, for now, the automatical position is set. If you want to change this, you will have to click either on the relative or on the absolute position. Let's start with the relative one. Using this, you can adjust the horizontal or the vertical positioning of the element. All you have to do is to drag the arrows here or define a value manually. The same goes for the vertical positioning. Next comes the absolute position. This can be used to place an element on the top right, top left, bottom left, or bottom right part of the container that it is in or of the page. In our case, this is a container, aka the content box here. You can also adjust the positioning further. After you have chosen the right part of the page or the container, you can use these sections here to position the image further. So, for example, you can change the top positioning as well as the left positioning here. So this concludes our video about the layout and position options. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to find out how the other options in Thrive Architect work, don't forget to check out our knowledge base for more tutorials.